This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Friday, January 16th, 2026. I'm Alex Brown. As the Indiana University football team prepares for the College Football Playoff National Championship, Cream and Crimson are running through Homefield Apparel's warehouse in Speedway. CEO Connor Hitchcock says IU's success has led to a tremendous growth in sales for his company.
In 2024, Indiana sales were 2.5 times the prior year. This year, it's done that again. It's 2.5 times 2024, just through our website. And then we had the fortunate timing of opening a store as well in Bloomington in August. And so it's been a lot of crimson coming through our warehouse here.
Homefield Apparel secured the license to make apparel for all 12 teams in the CFP. Indianapolis-based law firm Taft, Stettinius Hollister has filed as a lobbyist for the Chicago Bears amid a ramp-up in conversations about moving the team to Northwest Indiana. Disclosure of the registration comes as Indiana lawmakers on Thursday took their first public steps to create legislation to potentially lure the Bears to Lake County. After a national search, Purdue University Northwest has announced David Taylor will be the new dean of its College of Business beginning July 1st. Taylor currently serves as dean of the Jack Welch College of Business and Technology at Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise@ibj.com to learn more.
Indiana lawmakers seek to align state law with a recently enacted federal ban on intoxicating and synthetic hemp products over opposition from the burgeoning Delta 8 industry. IIB's Aubriana Herron has more.
Republican Senator Aaron Freeman said Senate Bill 250 would mimic Congress's closure of what he described as the Farm Bill loophole, referring to the 2018 legislation that defined legal hemp as any part of the plant containing less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC by dry weight. That definition allowed products containing Delta-8, THCA, and other intoxicating cannabinoids to proliferate, including in Indiana. A stopgap federal funding law, enacted in November, specifies that all forms of THC count. It also caps THC products to just 0.4 milligrams per container and outright bans lab-made ones. The federal provisions are set to take effect in November. Freeman's bill replicates those provisions, but sets an effective date 4 months earlier in July. Justin Swanson, representing the Midwest Hemp Council, said it would be premature for Indiana to codify federal law that would, quote, decimate an entire industry in the state. He noted Congressman Jim Bayard, a Republican representing Indiana, filed a proposal pushing the federal ban's effective date back to 2028. Swanson said his clients do support a responsible regulatory framework, telling lawmakers that the status quo is not acceptable for anybody. The revised legislation was approved on a party line vote of 7-2, but it must get through the finance-focused Senate Appropriations Committee before heading to the chamber's floor. Aubriana Herron, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Auburn-based Credent Wealth Management continues to add to its portfolio with the acquisition of 2 investment firms. Financial terms of the deals for Main Street Financial Advisors and First State Investment Advisors were not disclosed. Main Street was previously affiliated with Cambridge Investment Research in Kalamazoo, Michigan, while First State is a registered investment advisor based in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Credent said the firms bring a combined $250 million in assets under management and about 350 clients as part of the acquisition. In 1886, 5 brothers moved their company, the Ball Corporation, from New York to Muncie, where they would go on to found what would eventually become Ball State University. Now the story of Frank Ball's great-grandson, Jeff Harper, and his collection of nearly 3,000 ball jars and related memorabilia is being told through a university documentary called The Hobby. Co-producer and Ball State senior lecturer Chris Fluke.
The jar is really what helped make Muncie what it is, today, obviously with Ball State and the hospital and all that. So the goal was to we got a really good story here that's not been told. And the documentary just explores that.
Funded by the university's Virginia Ball Center for Creative Inquiry, the documentary will highlight the history of ball jars, the community of collectors, and the Harper's story. The voices behind the Bob and Tom Show are the focus of this week's Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.